It's Mrs. Culleton again. If you are watching this screencast, that means that you have completed all of the tasks from yesterday, which start here as far as today was concerned with making sure that you have your helping verbs glued into your interactive notebook to study for your quiz next Tuesday, along with the family tree, and they should be on the next two blank pages of your interactive notebook. You have watched the screencast from yesterday and completed the activity on the back of this handout, which includes crossing out imposters and identifying the subject and verb. You don't get to skip this step. You will get a 0 for this assignment if it's not done. So I did grade them last night. If you get it back today, you need to go back and finish it, and the screencast is still there from yesterday. You then took out the Greek creation story and went back to this family tree here and filled in the family tree, starting with, at the very top, it should have started with chaos. And you were kind of looking at how did the world come to be based on how the Greeks believed the world came to exist. After you finish step 6, you should have turned this into your sub, and this is your grade from yesterday, so you need to make sure that this gets turned back in. There were about 5 or 6 people from each class who didn't turn it back in, so right now you have a 0. After you turn that in, you should get this paper back, and this is where most of you should be starting today. You're going to silent read for 15 minutes, put your start and end time here. Just to do a quick review of your helping verbs, you're going to write all the helping verbs that you can. Hopefully you started studying yesterday because you did receive your list. So without looking, you should have written how many you know. If you didn't know very many, then that tells you you need to study a lot by next Tuesday. In a different color than what I wanted you to do is take out your interactive notebook and figure out which ones you were missing. After that, and that's where you are right now, if you have not done all of these steps, you need to stop this screencast and go back and finish all of that. If you're done, you're then using the book that the sub gave you. It's a Greek Gods book. You're going to go to my website and you're going to watch a screencast that says Annotating Directions, and that's what you should be doing right now. If you should finish, this step 5 is not homework, but step 4 is absolutely homework, and you can expect a quiz tomorrow over Zeus, the chapter of Zeus. So, just to recap, this should be on the board for you, but why is this taking so long to load? There you go. You are working on today's task list up through number 3 today for sure. If you have any questions, you can email me. My class is also working on a task list, so I'll try to email you back if I can. But again, if you email me, you got to check your email to make sure I replied. All right, just a quick overview. You should have done this, I'm hoping Monday, maybe not, of understanding why we study Greek mythology. It's literature that hasn't been around for over 2,000 years. Hopefully you've made the connection that you're studying Greek cultures in social studies, so it makes sense for us in language arts to be studying the literature. And Greek mythology served many purposes for the ancient people of Greece. It taught lessons. I think of all the lessons my mom always tried to tell me. You can't go swimming for a half hour after you eat. All those things they tried to scare us into believing. If you swallow your gum, it'll be in your stomach for 7 years. The Greeks used their myths to teach lessons. They also didn't have science like we have today, so they used the myths to create or to have an understanding of the world around them. Why does the sun come up in the morning and the moon come up at night? Why does it snow in the winter? Why are there creepy creatures like spiders? It also represented their religion. We talk about the different gods that you're going to start reading about the different gods that they believed in. And then they were just entertaining. The idea that humans were so powerful and glorious and interacted with the different gods. So where you're going to pick up today, you're going to be reading your Greek Gods book, and you should have, if you have not yet, make sure your first and last name is printed on the inside of your Greek Gods book. This is your responsibility to have for the rest of the year, probably the next 2 months as we read Greek mythology. And there are several Post-its at your seat. So you're going to start by getting one and labeling it word gaps. And these are going to be keeping track of words as you read this book. You can't write in it. So this is how you're going to keep track of your annotations. Based on some of the notes I've seen from your substitute, I am not going to tell the sub to let you partner read today. You need to be doing this independently. The next thing you're going to do is get a couple of other Post-its. You're going to put an exclamation point on one, a question mark on another, and a star on another. And at some point throughout the reading of Zeus today, you need to fill in at least these three Post-it notes. You're going to come up with one thing that surprised you, one thing that you wonder about or don't understand, and at least one big idea from the reading. And I would think that there probably could be more than one of each of these Post-its as you go. So that by the time you get done reading, your book is going to look something like this. Okay, obviously you're going to have explanations filled in here. If you have any words that you do not know, you'd better make sure that you define them, because when you come to class on Friday and have a quiz, if you didn't understand a word in the reading, you should have looked it up. Okay, and you should have at least one Post-it with one statement, one explanation of each big question. The goal, of course, is to understand what you're reading. So if you need more Post-its, then of course you should get more Post-its. As you can see in my book, I have a ton of them. Okay, so at this point you can go ahead and read. If you prefer or would like, I'm going to do another screencast that is a reading of the story. This is a complicated story. It's got some bigger vocabulary in it. And so if you want to do, maybe listen to it for the first read and then do your own read by yourself the second time, that's fine. But it's up to you. So you can either go to my website, click the next link which says Zeus Reading, or you can read on your own. But remember that there will be a quiz on Friday over this chapter.